welcome back to Talk Wordy, my hub for all of the words that I read, write, or otherwise want to yap about. As of the day that I am recording this, may the 4th be with you, but as of the day that this is releasing, aka tomorrow, happy Revenge of the 5th to all of my Star Wars loving peeps. Yes, that's right, I have sat down for a Han Solo episode just to talk a little bit about Star Wars and why I like it, and why, if you have not watched Star Wars, you're insane and I beg you to do it. You need to go watch Star Wars. It's actual sacred material. So for this episode, I want to preface two things. Number one, if you're watching me visually, I am so sorry that you're being assaulted by the absolute worst attempt at Leia Organa space buns ever. I need y'all to remember, because space buns are super trendy right now, and those are on the top of people's heads. See, Leia Organa, her space buns were on the side of her head, and I have very thick hair, and I think these are being held up by maybe 4 bobby pins on each side. So may the 4th be with me and my space buns right now. If they fall out during the episode, it is what it is, and we move on. But on top of that, everything that I'm going to be covering about Star Wars today is only going to be regarding the 9 main movies, like the 3 sets of trilogies, and Rogue One. That is it. We are not talking about Solo. We are not talking about The Mandalorian. We are not talking about the Clone Wars series or any other spinoffs like Andor, etc. So, without further ado, strap in and let's talk Star Wars. Let's get into it. Okay, so I am just going to do this episode completely on a whim. I had notes prepared, and then I was like, I need to just go off the cuff, and I need to talk about why it is genuinely such a wonderful thing. So my first interaction with Star Wars was, I was kind of perceiving it from afar as the 3rd trilogy was coming out. So when The Force Awakens awakened in theaters, I had no interest in watching Star Wars. I wasn't a hater, but I just didn't understand the vibes. I, at the time, was a big reader of like dystopian, and so a lot of people were trying to pull me into Star Wars with like dystopian comparisons, which it is very much a dystopian, you guys. This Star Wars is dystopian. Yes, sci-fi, but very, very dystopian. But it felt sci-fi to me visually. So that's where the disconnect laid, whatever, grammar, I don't care. That's where the disconnect fell for me. And what really started to pique my curiosity about it was my marching band, my high school marching band, did a show on The Force Awakens, and they had a lightsaber duel in the middle of the actual like band playing the show. They had 2 of their members dress up as Rey and Kylo and duke it out on the field. And mind you, I had zero context about the movie. Because I wasn't in the fandom very much, I didn't understand why people were kind of dogging on the new trilogy. And Rise of Skywalker hadn't even come out yet, so there's that. But the sword fight was the first thing where I was like, ooh, a boy and a girl are fighting. I dig that, because up until then, the main focal characters of the series were always boys. And again, there's nothing wrong with boys getting to have sword fights, like, good for them. You know, all the swashbuckling fights in Pirates of the Caribbean and all these other franchises that spotlighted boys fighting, like, great. It was entertaining. But I think because Star Wars felt sci-fi, and it is sci-fi, but also dystopian, I just never felt like it was geared towards girls fully. I was tone deaf, and that's okay. We learn from our mistakes and we repent. But I saw that fight between a boy and a girl, and I was like, oh, the girl's holding her own. I am also very intrigued by the Sith that's fighting, because he's masked. We don't know who he is. I might know his name. Let me check this out. But before I could start that movie, before I could go see Force Awakens, I had many a people in my grade be like, no, you can't just jump into Force Awakens. You have to watch the original material. And because of that, my interest slowly faded out. And by slowly, I do mean rapidly. And then I think 4 more years went by before me and two of my friends had this deal. We had a lot of time together. It was the COVID pandemic. We were bored. We were local. And we had this idea of we would go and like visit each other at one of their houses. And each of us had a franchise of movies that the other had not watched in its entirety. And we had agreed that we would meet up and we would watch all of these movies. And so for me, I had not seen Star Wars. And I actually think we started with Star Wars. And we went chronologically, not release chronologically, story chronologically. So imagine my confusion and slight boredom when we started with The Phantom Menace. Okay, listen, I loved the pod race. I thought it was so cool. I loved young Ewan McGregor. But also, man, I loved Qui-Gon. Liam Neeson in a Star Wars movie was everything I wanted and more. And it helped me fill in the gaps. Mind you, what I did know about Star Wars, spoilers, if you haven't figured it out already, because it's the most spoiled big plot twist reveal literally ever. Because we were starting with Anakin's movies, I knew at some point he was going to become Darth Vader. I just didn't know how. Okay. And so imagine how thrilled I was when young Anakin had this cute little crush on Padme Amidala in the first movie. And I was like, they're going to find their way back to each other. And that's exactly what they did. Because episode 2, that episode is underrated as hell, you guys. Attack of the Clones was so fun. I think it was the most enjoyable experience in long form world building I've ever encountered. I loved it. I loved the high stakes Count Dooku. I dug it. Like, we got to see that edgier side of Obi-Wan Kenobi because his master had been killed and he was raising up young Anakin as a Padawan in his stead. The actual fight sequence when you're like, oh yeah, they're going to get slaughtered. That was a whole thing. Loved that entire thing. Oh, I forgot to mention in The Phantom Menace, Darth Maul was everything to me. And it was in that particular screening that I realized, oh, I really vouch for the Siths in a lot of contexts. Like, obviously, morally, it's a bit of a dilemma. But I've always had a thing for the villains in the sense that, like, sometimes they are hot, okay? But mainly, I love the complexities of the human mind. And so getting to study these characters, whether they are like full-blown deranged or like Anakin, they are operating in a very human, empathetic spot, but they just have to take some very, very terrible actions and make terrible, terrible choices. I root for those people, or at least I like latch onto them and I enjoy their scenes the most. Yeah, anyways, Darth Maul, that whole fight, absolutely freaking insane. And then Attack of the Clones, incredible. And then we reached Revenge of the Sith, and I could see that the romance between Anakin and Padme was not just a crush anymore. I saw them kiss against that pillar, and they're like sneaking around, and I was like, oh, we're cooking, you guys. Revenge of the Sith was everything to me. And as soon as we watched that, because the buildup had been incredible, there were so many memes. I feel like I could quote the showdown scene, like the soliloquy or the back and forth before the fight, before I had even ever seen it, because it had been on my For You page since the moment my phone registered that I had been watching Star Wars. What a time. Okay. But yeah, so we binged 9 movies, the trilogy, plus Rogue One, and we did Rogue One in the actual order that it goes before A New Hope. And I was hooked. And now I thought I would get into my official ranking of the Star Wars films. Now, for this, I do need to get my laptop because I don't remember the rankings. There's 10 of them off the top of my head. I remember what my top 3 are. But I figured that I would go into talking about all 10 so that, I can get something in my comments saying, never let this woman rank again. Okay, you guys, I'm back. If you can see my bare feet, I'm so sorry. But let's get into my official ranking of the franchise. So coming in at a whopping 10th place, nobody should be surprised. It's The Rise of Skywalker. It's episode 9. It is the finale of the latest trilogy. And I feel like if you are anywhere in touch with the Star Wars fandom, you've heard so many of the diehards complain about this. And listen, while I don't think I am a diehard, I do not know every single molecule in the Star Wars realm. I remember bits and pieces, as in, like, I can tell you names of planets or names of people, some of the creatures, but like they whittle it down to such minute details. It's crazy. But this was one of the movies that was just genuinely so obviously rushed, poorly made. And my biggest bone to pick, again, slight spoilers. I was really pissed that Disney was not brave enough to make Rey dark. I really liked seeing the shift in Kylo, aka Ben, go to the light. But I think they were cowards for not, at the same time, having Rey shift into darkness. I really liked the tension of them being on opposite sides, especially once Rey's heritage is revealed. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, number 9 is The Force Awakens. I know, it doesn't look very good for our latest trilogy of movies right now, but never fret. We press on. The Force Awakens is lower because one of the most frustrating tropes in all of storytelling, in my opinion, is what I like to call the instant gratification of the novice master. So what I mean by that is somebody who's a complete beginner, an absolute novice in a trade or a trick or skill, they become an instant master at it. And there's like little to no strive for struggle. And that's exactly what Rey is. Now, mind you, there might be a little bit of a double standard with that because we see in The Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is getting in touch with the Force, it comes rather quickly to him. However, the world does build up that he, like his father, was very, very in tune with the Force already. Now, again, hearkening back to Rey's heritage, that might call for a bit of an explanation. But I just feel like she was such an outsider that at the time the instant master trope didn't make much sense. And before anybody jumps into my comments or jumps down my throat about how I'm a woman hater and I just hate Rey, that's not true, because you know who I hated the most in that movie? Frickin' Finn. Finn was the whiniest POS character I have ever encountered in the Star Wars franchise. Well, whiny wise, couldn't stand him. Rey! Just, that was his prominent line of dialogue, just screaming Rey's name. However, I do dig Rey's yellow lightsaber. I really hope that's from The Force Awakens and it's not blue and then she goes to yellow. Again, I need to rewatch these. I made my husband watch them with me within the last 2 years, and he liked it, and I'm so proud. But I need a rewatch. My comprehension for really detailed franchises expires about every year, and I only retain the big pieces, unless we're talking about the Hunger Games and the Twilight Saga, because, well, I binge those probably 3 times a year. So they're forever imprinted on my mind. No pun intended. Okay, number 8. Number 8, we've got The Phantom Menace. Again, like I said, loved the action, loved the world building. I don't know necessarily if I was thrilled that Anakin was so young, because listen, I love a romantic plot line. I really do. That's why Revenge of the Sith was just in my Holy Grail territory. Spoiler for the list. But I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great way to set up all of the dynamics that would play out later in the trilogy, but also in the entire franchise as a whole. Don't skip Phantom Menace. I've heard people do that, and I think you're absolutely insane for that. You need to endure it, just like I did. I watched The Phantom Menace first. You can do it. Okay, next up, number 7. This might surprise some people. Number 7 is A New Hope. Okay, I understand that it is like the most groundbreaking source material of the franchise. It is what started it all. It took over the world in the 1970s. And if I grew up in the 70s, I would feel the same way. Problem is, I was born in the year 2000. And by the time that I watched Star Wars full on for the first time, it was 2020. And so 1970s effects in a world where it's 2020 is not all that impressive, personally. Now, I'm not dogging the film because of the erosion of time, okay? I'm not a monster. But what I will say is that we finally get introduced to Leia Organa. And again, we don't know the dynamic of Leia, Luke, Han, like as it will pan out in the actual series. It's almost like being teased about what the atmosphere will be. And in that sense, I really liked it. But I also feel like it didn't have the action that other parts of the series would later have. And we'll get into that right now. Number 6, closing out the latest trilogy, is The Last Jedi. Technically, this is the second movie in the latest trilogy. The sequels, if you want to call it that. I really loved The Last Jedi. I'm sorry. I know that it gets a bad rap, and a lot of people think it's terrible. I think there are so many memeable moments in that particular movie. I love the characters for the most part. Again, can't stand Finn. Really can't stand Rose. Oh my goodness, they're made for each other. But I really like, again, the tension of Rey and Kylo on opposite sides and kind of tapping into each other's minds. So good. I really like The Last Jedi. The visuals are incredible. This is the movie that has the blow that piece of junk out of the sky. And what else is that? Oh, more. So, slight spoilers for The Last Jedi, but this also is probably my favorite of the sequels because we get the incorporation of Luke Skywalker into it. So, I feel like each of the 3 OG players have their own movie per se, or not own movie, but like own figurehead moments in each of the sequels. The Force Awakens is Han Solo. The Last Jedi is Luke Skywalker. And then I almost said The Rise of Daragon because that's my book. That's so funny. The Rise of Skywalker. That's so embarrassing. The Rise of Skywalker is Leia. So because of Luke's incorporation, I really like The Last Jedi. Getting more background context was really immersive for me, at least. It's my favorite of the sequels. So take that as you will. All right. Number 5. Do I want to switch 4 and 5? I'm looking at them. No, I want to keep it. Number 5 is Return of the Jedi. So, again, that kind of antiquated 70s style. Mind you, I love the 70s. Although I think at this point, I think it was the 80s by then. Because I think, A New Hope was like 77? And then I don't remember if it's like 79 was Empire Strikes Back or if that crossed into the 80s. I feel like one of them came out in 82. Anyways, I think we were in the 80s at this point, so the effects had gotten better. Luke had grown up. Luke wasn't like, I don't want to say soft because that's, it's okay for men to be soft. But he aged. He aged a little bit and he aged for the better. I was more intrigued with Luke's actual journey than I was with Han and Leia at this point, which is really interesting because, again, romantic subplots will sway me every single time. But I really, really adored learning about Luke and Luke's ties to the other characters and Luke's absolute rallying behind saving his father. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. But I just feel like the other movies on this list eke this one out of a higher position. Number 4, Attack of the Clones. Like I said, the world building, the brewing war and tension politically, that's where I was like, okay, I understand why the dystopian girlies wanted me to get in on this so badly. This is where the sci-fi started to actually click in my brain. I think had I started with episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then gone back for 1, 2, and 3, I'd be a little confused. But because the prequels were done, if I'm not mistaken, in the early 2000s, maybe at the late 90s, the effects had matured and they had gotten a little more modern. So my brain was able to click with it really well. And I genuinely could not tell you what was going to come next. Nothing looked artificial. It was really, really gripping for me. And again, literally, I think my only complaint about that movie was the little rat tail braid that Anakin had. Yeah, couldn't stand that. But loved the monologue about I don't like sand. It's rough. Of course. It gets everywhere. Or whatever the line is. I'm going to have to find it. Anyways, moving on. We're in our top 3. Hedge your bets now. Take your guesses. Out of the 3 that are left, which ones are going to take the first, second, and third spot? On my personal podium, number 3 is The Empire Strikes Back. Guys, like I said, I love delving into the mind of a villain and seeing just how much the Empire was on display in this movie, like the full force of the Galactic Empire. I was hooked. I was a little confused about being in, I think it was Hawk? The Snowy Realm. Hawk? I think it's Hawk. It confused me at the beginning, but it started to progress really fast. Every time Darth Vader showed up, I was literally squealing, giggling, kicking my feet. Especially being in the know about the big, plot device at play. It made me go back to New Hope and be like, oh my gosh, when Darth Vader was like restraining Leia, that's genuinely one of the few times that he got to interact with his daughter. Spoilers. I warned you at the beginning of this episode. Anyways, Empire Strikes Back was really good. I loved, oh my gosh, what is his name? Lando? I think it's Lando. I didn't even have to Google it. Holy crap. I loved Lando. I loved getting more out of Chewbacca. I loved what happened at the end with Han and the romantic exchange. If you know, you know. Because, I know. You can't see me, audio listeners, but I just winked at you. Yeah, genuinely no complaints. This was the best one out of the original trilogy. Hands down, incredible. Okay, we're in our top 2. Brace yourselves. I bet you think that Revenge of the Sith is number 1, but you're wrong! Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite. I know. So, Revenge of the Sith is God tier level. However, I am an empath. And so watching that movie is very difficult for me. Watching Anakin make the decision that he believed was right, even though it caused him to do actions and make choices that were very, very heinously wrong. Absolutely ripped me to shreds. Watching Order 66 take place will never fail to make my stomach hurt, genuinely. It's so tough, but I love the showdown, even though it ends abysmally. Watching Padme go through what she goes through from beginning to end, it is so tough. And honestly, the reason I play the empath card with this is because if you don't know, Anakin is haunted by something he sees in a dream. And because he is so in touch with the Force, he genuinely believes that it is going to transpire. And frankly, I bet it could have. Even though it transpired in a different way, but it also looked the same way that he envisioned it. It's a whole can of worms that I'm not going to open up for you guys, but I feel that so intimately because I have a very vivid imagination, and therefore a lot of times I have very, very vivid dreams in my sleep. I see people that I either encounter on a daily basis or I have seen them in the past. I haven't spoken to them for years, but they show up in such a visible, what is the word? Visible, I guess, clarity. Genuinely, sometimes they feel very, very real. And I wake up thinking, did I actually have a conversation with them? It's a whole deal. And so when he had this dream and he was like, I felt it, it's going to happen. I was like, yes, bro, prevent it. Literally go stop it. Go save your woman. So yeah, I justify all of his rights and wrongs? No. But do I empathize with them? Yes, I do. And yeah, I feel like I could quote the entire showdown. Anyways, moving on. If you're doing the math, we have gone through 9 movies and we are at my number 1. And you're probably confused because I've covered everything in all 3 of the trilogies. Never you fret though, because we're missing one very, very important movie that a lot of people either skip or they just refuse to believe happened. And that was Rogue One. Rogue One takes my number 1 spot for so many reasons. I beg of you, there's a picture of me online in a Chewbacca onesie with much better space buns than I have on right now. I think I used like a hot bun technique. I looked great. If you're watching visually, I'll insert the picture right here. I loved that movie so much. I was not watching Star Wars as it was coming out. Like when Rogue One released in theaters, I did not watch it, but I had heard so many people talk about it during that Christmas break. A lot of people, now that I'm a reader and a watcher of the films, I love to tell people that Rogue One is the Tower of Dawn of the Star Wars universe because it came out during the sequel trilogy run, and people, I think, were a little annoyed that it interrupted the flow between, I believe it was Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It came out and they were like, why do we need this? You need it. You do. I swear, just like Tower of Dawn. Do not skip Tower of Dawn. Do not skip Rogue One. It is so good. And let me tell you, if you are a reader of the Throne of Glass series and you were bored by what's it called? Tower of Dawn, please, for the love of God, go watch Star Wars and then don't skip Rogue One, because Rogue One will redeem your Tower of Dawn experience. I cannot stress this enough. It is so good. It is complex. The characters broke my freaking heart. I will say though, it is a much harsher ending than Tower of Dawn was. Tower of Dawn gave me hope, gave me purpose. It tied up so many loose ends, and it got me ready for the absolute cinder block of pain that was Kingdom of Ash. But let me tell you, you guys, Rogue One positionally is not with the sequels. Rogue One fits in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And I cannot stress enough, you have to watch it. I almost swore, the absolute best of the best of Daddy Darth Vader is in this movie, which is perfect because I was watching this, if it came out during the sequels, Darth Vader was not in those movies. Okay? Listen, I need to impress the importance of this upon you. This was coming out at a time where Darth Vader was no longer in the movies, and we were getting whiny-ass Finn, hot commodity Poe. Love Poe, by the way. Poe minus, somehow this person returned in the very last movie. Anyways, you had all of this going on, and we needed a little bit of Darth Vader back in our lives, and Rogue One delivered. It delivered! Oh my God, it was so good. And that's not a spoiler. Like, you know that Darth Vader is in the movie. Oh my God, it was so good. But yeah, I just, again, there's like a father-daughter like journey pull. There is reluctant alliances, a band of outcasts, a little bit of a romantic subplot, but also not really. That's how you know it's a good movie. There's barely any romance. I don't even know if I can consider what I'm thinking of the romantic subplot a romantic subplot. Please go watch Rogue One. If you skipped Rogue One, you're on my list. But I can take you off the list once you go watch it and tell me that you watched it and you loved it, presumably. Okay. Also, if you're watching visually, I really hope you appreciate the fact that I don't own any Star Wars merch, which is insane. I need to fix that immediately. Although I will say, over on my dining room table over there, I am in the middle of doing a Stormtrooper 1,000-piece puzzle. So I am celebrating in style. But also my sweatshirt, it says in my author era, but it's in Sith colors. Let's freaking go. Also, shameless plug, my first book, The Fall of Jericho, is very Sith vibes. If my characters were in the Star Wars universe, they would both be Siths. So if you're feeling the Revenge of the Sith spirit today, as you were listening to this episode, please, I beg you, go take a chance on that book. It's on Kindle Unlimited. And then also, if you liked The Rise of Skywalker or the sequels, and you like that kind of divide between light and dark, you should go read my second book that you could also read as the first book. You can read them out of order. The Rise of Daragon. Shameless plug over. Let's move on. To close out this episode, I am going to play a game of F, Marry, Kill, submitted by my lovely listeners over on my Instagram. So when I do more solo episodes and I do games like this, keep an eye out on my stories because I will be soliciting your opinions for F, Marry, Kill or other games like that. Okay. Let's get into it. So, if you don't know Star Wars, yikes, you're not going to understand this. And I really feel lazy. I have to turn around this episode for tomorrow's release, so I'm not putting pictures in. Although you may see this as a reel. Who knows? Okay, let's get into it. F, Marry, Kill, Cassian Andor, Lando Calrissian, and Han Solo. First of all, I love that somebody in the Star Wars universe is named Cassian. Smash. And I think that is where I'm going to put him. I'm going to smash Cassian. Wait. Hold on. Pause. Go back. Okay, listen. Lando's got land. Lando's got real estate. Lando's funny. But Lando could backstab. He's kind of swindly like that. Then we've got Han Solo. Oh, gosh. Listen. OG Han Solo is yummy. But for reasons that are explained in the sequels, I don't know if I could marry him. I think I take it back. I'm gonna marry Cassian. He's poor. I'm so awful. Okay, wait. I don't want to kill any of them, truthfully. Oh my God. Oh wow, this is so tough. I'm in between marrying Cassian and Lando. I'm going to, but it's funny because I'm not killing Han. I'm not doing it. I'm probably going to smash Han. It's just a matter of who am I going to marry and who am I going to kill. Absolute polar opposites. You know what? I think I'm going to marry Lando. I'm going to marry Lando and he's going to fly me around and we're going to live on his land and it's going to be great. And I'm going to smash Han Solo and apologize. But you know what? I feel like they're Eskimo brothers, truthfully. And then Cassian. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Cassian. I really thought I was going to marry Cassian. It's not happening. Okay. Next up. Okay. F, Marry, Kill, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Mace Windu. Okay, I feel like this might be one of my easiest matchups. I'm so sorry, Mace Windu. I'm going to murder you, and I'm going to steal your purple lightsaber because it's sick as heck. I love his purple lightsaber. He's the only one in the Star Wars universe that has a purple lightsaber. Or at least, minus some spin-offs if somebody has purple. Anyways. Oh my gosh, so am I marrying or smashing Mr. Hello There? Okay, listen. If we're talking... No, genuinely. I was going to say, if we're talking like movie interpretations versus like just their character attributes, like if I didn't see who played the characters of Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I might marry Obi-Wan Kenobi. However, I think I'm going to smash Obi-Wan because he's really dedicated to the Jedi Order, and I know that he wouldn't leave it for me, but you know who would? Anakin Skywalker. He would. He did. Well, he didn't leave the Jedi Order, but he like worked around it. Yeah, I'm going to marry Anakin. And when he ultimately turns to protect me, I'm going to think it's hot. It's yeah, that's my order. I'm going to smash Obi-Wan, marry Anakin, and kill Mace Windu so I can keep his lightsaber. Okay. F, marry, kill. We're getting into the ladies. F, marry, kill, Padme Amidala, Princess Leia, and Jyn Erso. Okay, if you don't know who Jyn Erso is, she is the lead character in Rogue One. And I love her. I love her so much. Yeah, I'm looking at this picture of Leia, and her space buns are like, first of all, massive. Second of all, flat. Like, if you're looking at me visually, her space buns go to like right here. Like this level. Like, they're huge. Mine are not. I'm embarrassed. Anyways. And if we're going with Leia on any of these, I just want you to know this is OG trilogy Leia. This is not sequels Leia, because that's just wrong. I'm going to say, hot take, you guys. I'm going to kill Padme. And here's why. You cannot compete with Jyn Erso and Princess Leia. I think I'm going to smash Leia and I'm going to marry Jyn. That's a hot take, and I'm not going to expand any further on it. Okay. F, marry, kill. The fact that Finn is even in this lineup, he's dead. I don't care who else is next. Poe and Rey. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm marrying Poe. I need Poe on retainer immediately. Poe is everything to me. Finn can rot. Finn can absolutely rot. Take Rose with you. And then I'll hit Rey. She cool. She bad. Oh, now we're getting into it. Okay, you guys. F, marry, kill, Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, and Darth Vader. Listen. I feel like this is self-explanatory. I really think it is. But y'all are going to judge me for it, and that's okay. I'm going to kill Darth Vader. I know. Listen, marrying Anakin and killing Darth Vader, it doesn't make sense. I can't have my cake and eat it too. But you know what? This is a fictional game, so yes, I can. And here's why. I have to smash Darth Maul. I have to. He's got a double-sided lightsaber. He's got horns. He has an actual face that's not covered, okay? And I don't know if you watched the same Phantom Menace that I did. Dude's got moves, okay? And then, of course, no surprise to anyone on planet Earth, I'm going to marry Kylo Ren. I'm going to do it. Considering how many romance books came out of Kylo Ren fan fiction, you should all understand, clear as day, why I'm going to marry Kylo Ren. This right here feels illegal, okay? F, marry, kill, C-3PO, R2-D2, and BB-8. The answer is just no. Let me think of a different way to do this, because none of them are actually human. Let's think about, who would I recycle? That's death. Who would I rehome? Like give to somebody else so that they can have them. And who would I keep? That's much better. I'm going to recycle C-3PO. Homeboy's annoying AF. Bad. Cannot stand him. Although I say that, but there's plenty of other characters that I can't stand even more than him. He's bumbly. I know he knows 6 million languages or something like that. Dude cannot read the room at all. I'm going to keep R2-D2. Homeboy saved so many people across so many different universes and planets from so much BS. I'm keeping R2-D2. He'd be a loyal friend. And then I'm going to rehome BB-8. I would love to keep BB-8. BB-8 is absolutely adorable. He is like the droid equivalent of like a really cute orange cat, I feel like. I love BB-8, but I'm sorry, he can't be the OG R2-D2. Okay, this next matchup is quite appalling. We've got I can't say its name. Maz Kanata, Chewbacca, and Yoda. I think this is where we stop. Okay, listen, I don't want to go on public record and be like, yeah, I'm going to smash one of these non-human characters. And I understand that that's an easy answer for some of y'all. Some of y'all could be like, oh, bam, bam, bam. I think this is where I stop. This is genuinely where I stop. Oh, because it gets worse. Because then another matchup on my list is Watto, Jar Jar Binks, and Jabba the Hutt. First of all, you will not catch me touching Jabba the Hutt with a 39.5-foot pole. Also, best believe that if I had any weapon, especially some kind of machine gun, that thing is pointed immediately at Jar Jar Binks. Like I told you, some people don't like C-3PO because he can be annoying. Jar Jar Binks is at the top of my hit list, truly. I cannot stand him. Misa hates to see Jar Jar on my screen. I hate him. I hate him so much. You guys, thank you so much for tuning into this absolute batshit episode. Yeah, I swore. I told myself I wasn't going to swear, but I did. This was an insane episode. I probably yapped for way too long, but I love Star Wars. I really encourage you, if you've never seen Star Wars, please go watch it. It is so fun. And if you're local to me or you're a friend of mine, come watch it at my house. I'll watch it with you. Major shout out to the fact that my space buns actually held. Absolutely unbelievable work. I cannot believe it. Literally by the grace of God, they are still on the sides of my head right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. That's all I have for you guys. Make sure to go follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at TalkWordyPod, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.